This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial endowment expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on September the 7th, 2017. Our time is 8:43 Mountain. Our radio show runs 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived on Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and HESradio.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You will find us there. Harold's auction website, an auction underway right now at hsfineauctions.com. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. And our featured diamond of the week is a .70 carat pear-cut fancy blue. And what a stunning diamond this is. See it. RareColoredDiamonds.com, featured Diamond of the Week. As we tape today's program, the Bank of Canada raised interest rates on Wednesday to 1%. Back in 2015, we were at 1%. Bank of Canada knocked it down to 0.5%, and now we are back to 1% a couple of years later. We'll have to wait and see what that does to the Canadian economy. Also, in the United States, Donald Trump surprised the Republicans, agreed with the Democrats, and they agreed to a 3-month increase in the debt ceiling and hurricane relief spending in a bill. So that really surprised the Republicans. They were not big on it, but Trump wanted to get it done. They got it done. But the big breaking news, obviously, we had Hurricane Harvey hit Houston and the southern United States. Now we have Hurricane Irma bearing down on Florida. It tore through the Caribbean. It's bearing down on Florida. And Harold has a very unique perspective. He's a Canadian who lives in Florida, also in Colorado. And he's in Colorado for the summer. And obviously his thoughts are with everyone in Florida. Harold, what a very scary time it is for those that are in the United States and worried about all these hurricanes hitting the southern United States and Florida.
Randy, we're beside ourselves here. You know, back in 2005, Hurricane Wilma, Category 5, hit South Florida, actually came in through Mexico, which is the only way that it really, I think, could have gotten to my home. But we had over $150,000 damage to our home back then. That was in 2005 with Wilma. And we had to literally leave our home, even though I have shutters and underground propane tanks and generators and things like that. There was no food, there was no gasoline, there was no nothing, and looting going on and all that. So we were fortunate to be able to get up to Orlando and had to spend 2 weeks up in Orlando. Not only my wife and I, but had to move our children up there. My wife's mother was elderly and her sister, and then my other kids. So I had to relocate. And it was a very, very difficult time. I remember that distinctly because we were trying to still run our business, which was extremely difficult because Florida got hit so badly and there was no gasoline, there was no power, there was no nothing. Now we have another hurricane coming, and it's the biggest hurricane I think that has ever hit that part of the Atlantic. It's 185 miles an hour. It's 400 miles wide. So South Florida is only 200 miles from east to west coast. That means that if this storm hits into Key West or into Miami, it's going to cover the entire from east to west. And the amount of damage that is going to be done is substantial. Obviously, my biggest concern is my family. My grandchildren, 3 grandchildren, live in South Florida. My daughter-in-law, my son, our businesses are in South Florida. We had to evacuate our office in Palm Beach because it's right on the ocean, so anybody that's within a mile of the ocean must evacuate. Now, where do all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of people go to? You know, the fact is they've got to get out. It's mandatory. All of Key West, which is only one route in and one route out, it's a 2-lane highway, everybody had to start getting out. Miles and miles and miles of people leaving their homes and their belongings and everything, and everybody must be out of Key West. Now they're doing the same for Miami and for Broward, which is where I live. Now, fortunately, my home is west, so we're not going to get the storm surges, but my home is on a lake, and we have had issues with flooding in the past. The way I'm looking at it is that it's, the house is insurable, and it's insured, and, whatever happens, happens. Obviously, any delay in business is a major concern to me, but my biggest concern is my family, and that's where our thoughts are today. So, again, anything can happen. I've been through enough of these over the last 35 years to realize that you never know what is going to happen till the last minute. It certainly looks like this storm is barreling down directly on South Florida. Today it's going through we're taping the show on Thursday, through the Turks and Caicos. That's going to get wiped out. There was a small little island, I think it's called Bermuda. It was totally wiped out. 95% of all the buildings were totally wiped out. It is gone. They're saying in Puerto Rico, which is got hit early this morning, on Thursday morning, they're saying that there was so much damage there that the people there could go without power for 6 months to a year. How in the world do you do that? And Puerto Rico was bankrupt anyways. So this whole scenario that is happening right now at a time when things are difficult in the United States, we've got a very difficult president that's doing things that are really wreaking havoc on the financial markets. Just look at the currency markets because of this president. You had a hurricane last week, Hurricane Harvey in Houston, $100 billion worth of damage. 40,000 homes were destroyed. The oil market was disrupted. That's why you saw a rise in oil prices this week. That's why you saw gold prices up this week. Gold is up $13 as we're taping the show on Thursday, and it all has to do with, the problems that are happening because of these storms, and then add to it that North Korea was bad this week, and there was some political issues that we really need to reassess and all that. So the markets right now are not reacting to to technicals. They're reacting to fundamentals, politics, and obviously what's happening with these tremendous hurricanes. The other fear, Randy, is not only is Irma going to do massive destruction. I mean massive destruction, probably one of the biggest hurricanes we've ever seen, but there's another hurricane right behind it. So the fact is that this thing is not going away. Primarily after 2005, when we had to go through Wilma and we had all this damage to our home and businesses and everything like that and had to move away for a couple weeks, that's when I decided that I'm not going to be able to go through this anymore and bought my home in Colorado. So basically, we're in Colorado from June the 14th all the way till October, trying to miss the hurricane season. And even though my businesses are in South Florida and in Palm Beach, we can still do business because obviously we don't have the same issues in Colorado that we're facing right now in Florida. So again, it's a very, very stressful and trying times, Randy. Again, to be this far away from my grandchildren really causes me a lot of grief and concern. But the fact is that we made this move and we had to do what we had to do in order to protect the family and in order to protect the business so it still continues. So again, these acts of nature, they happen randomly, but they can affect your life in a gigantic way. At times we've seen it on TV. We've seen Katrina. By the way, Wilma and Katrina happened in the same year, happened right after each other. So that's how these storms can devastate not only your livelihood and your family and everything, but the economy and the whole country. So this is what we're going through at this point. Again, we're very concerned, very, very thankful for all of our clients in Canada that have sent us their best wishes and their concerns for us. We truly appreciate that. We will keep you up to date. And obviously, because I'm in Colorado as opposed to Florida, we'll still be able to do business and still be able to keep you updated as to what's going on. So at this point, Randy, again, the markets are reacting to temporary shortages in oil, but we know that that's not going to continue because all will happen is that OPEC will continue to overproduce. So we had a bit of a rally in oil, but it's down a little bit today, about 25 cents. As a result of things happening in the U.S. with these storms and Canada raising their interest rates at this point, the Canadian dollar is trading at 122. I attribute a lot of this currency move not so much to the fact that Canada's raising interest rates. They're not raising it enough to make any difference at all. And again, what we've always talked about is why are they raising interest rates in the first place? They're going to kill the real estate market, which is already in huge trouble, and the Canadian debt is so high, and now they're raising interest rates to make you pay even more. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But the fact is that we believe that the currency markets are the way that they are at this point, not so much that Canada raised their interest rates, more along the lines that Trump is a loose cannon and he's not doing a very good job. In fact, I'm shocked because I really did believe that he was the type of businessman that was going to come in and right the ship. But all he's done is cause controversy and all that type of thing, and it's obvious that the man doesn't know what he's doing, and this is why the markets are reacting in the way that they are. So we'll see what happens over the next few days as these storms start to hit. Again, we're taping the show on Thursday, so by Sunday when the show is playing, we're already going to know what the results are of the hurricane hitting South Florida. So just pay attention to the news, and I'm sure you'll get all those updates. But again, I am in Colorado, safe and sound at this particular point, but extremely worried about my family and my business that is located in South Florida.
And I remember doing shows when you were in Orlando, Florida. We were worried about you getting up there in time to do the show with me. You did make it in time, and we did those shows. But we have never missed a week, even when we were in a situation when there was a hurricane bearing down on Florida back in 2005. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. 1-800-432-1022. Harold has programs in place, private programs where you can start making money right now today. Find out what they are. Connect with him at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Some side notes. The latest Hurricane Harvey cost estimates show about 70% of homes damaged caused by flooding won't be covered by insurance. New preliminary data from CoreLogic, a property analytics firm, predicts that between $25 billion and $37 billion of flood loss has hit homes across southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. Only about $6.5 billion to $9.5 billion of those costs will be covered by insurers. And 60 Minutes did a piece on Sunday about those affected in New Jersey from the huge hurricane there from a few years back, and so many of them thought they had insurance. Turned out they were not covered at all. It was very, very tragic. Also, up to 500,000 Houston cars may be destroyed by Hurricane Harvey, according to analysis by Cox Automotive. And it's interesting to note that they're saying maybe about 300 to 500,000 vehicles have been destroyed. And the interesting side note is in the Houston area, they have seen 325,000 new vehicle sales in the last 12 months. So that would almost wipe out all the new vehicles that have been purchased. Now, when it comes to those that are looking to get a vehicle, a rental vehicle, they are really getting hit hard for the cost and the price of renting a vehicle on a daily basis. All the companies like Avis Budget, they have jacked up the cost for vehicles if you want to rent, the same for Hertz Global. So no easy answers for those down in Houston, and we wish them the best, as we do for those in Florida with the Hurricane Irma bearing down. As we have in our free weekly newsletter a map, and it looks like the tip of Florida will be hit approximately by about Sunday at 8 a.m. And as Harold said, when our show runs Sunday afternoon at 3 on CHED, we should have a pretty good idea of what is going to be happening. The big story here in Canada. The Bank of Canada raised the benchmark rate to 1%. Bank of Canada forged ahead with another interest rate hike in a nod to the country's surging economy. while signaling its appetite for further tightening may be curbed by a rising Canadian dollar and sluggish inflation. Policymakers raised their benchmark rate for a second time since July by 25 basis points to 1%. At the same time, they cited risks including continued excess capacity, subdued wage and price pressures, geopolitical and higher Canadian dollar concerns, along with worries about the impact of rising interest rates on highly indebted Canadian households. And to give you an idea of highly indebted, there were some scary facts, and we have these in our free weekly newsletter. If you'd like to get the companion to our radio show, the free weekly newsletter, connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com is the website. Now, Equifax says non-mortgage debt in Canada rose to the equivalent of $22,595 per person in the second quarter. Alberta had the highest provincial average at $28,240 of non-mortgage consumer debt, and that is up 1.8% from last year, followed by Saskatchewan, $24,690, and British Columbia, $24,026. Also, for all the praise the Canadian economy is getting these days, almost half of the country's workers are struggling to get by. The Canadian Payroll Association closely watched annual survey shows 47% of working Canadians would struggle if their paycheck came a week late. No surprise then to see that 41% of respondents say they spend all or more of their take-home pay, and 35% say they're overwhelmed by their debt. A new CIBC poll shows 55% of Canadian post-secondary students expect to graduate with more than $30,000 in debt on average, according to the Canadian Business Channel. And Harold, the real estate market in Toronto continues to cool. Strangely enough, in Vancouver, after a cooling period, it's booming yet again. But Toronto, the housing market slump continues with an August drop. Housing prices in Toronto continued their summer slump as government regulations and fears about market softening curbed demand in Canada's largest city. The average price for all house types declined 1.9% last month from July to August, and that is $732,292. And according to the Toronto Real Estate Board, that's down 20% from the March peak, when the average cost of buying a home in the Toronto region climbed to $1 million. Still, the downturn appears to be ebbing, with average monthly price declines ranging from 6% to 8% in the previous 3 months. But it is interesting to note, Harold, that there was some concern with the Bank of Canada raising interest rates up to 1%, and all the Canadian big banks, they passed that along immediately when it comes to their loans and credit cards and things of that nature. Now, if you're sitting, if you want a GIC, or if you're sitting in a high-yielding bank account, they're not going to pass it along, the 1%. That's something that's become very apparent. But on the other side of things, if you owe them money, they're going to jack it up immediately. And that is the concern, because mortgages will be more expensive, because Canadians are indebted to the level that they're in, that it will have an effect on the Canadian economy. And one thing, Harold, I've always been very proud of you. From the beginning of the time they started this show, you always said to people, pay off your debt. Don't get in debt. Pay off your debt. Live by your means. And it is so important to do so now more than ever, as we see not only Americans, as we do know, they live paycheck to paycheck and are indebted as well, but Canadians following down that same path. And if people are wondering what to do when it comes to their finances, Harold, I know that, and we have about 3 minutes left here, you're more than happy to talk to them and show them a way that they can start making money today with some of the different investment ideas that you have.
You bet we do, Randy. Again, it's a very, very difficult time at this time to make money anywhere without speculating. And the fact is that 90% of the people that trade stocks and commodities lose their money. So that's not something that we advocate. We're saying to stay very conservative during these times because look at how volatile these markets are. You know, again, it just absolutely shocks me that Canada raised interest rates to 1% with what you just said. You know, the fact is that if non-mortgage debt is that high in Canada, $28,000 a person type of thing, why would they raise interest rates? How does that help the economy in any way to put more burden on the general public that's trying to make a living? And then on top of that, in a bad real estate market, let's raise interest rates and make it even more difficult. I don't understand it. I don't see what a raise in interest rates in Canada, what it's going to accomplish. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. That's why I'm saying at this time these markets are ridiculously volatile. In a lot of cases, they don't make sense right this second. So please give me a call. I'll certainly sit down with you and explain what we're doing. We're in the alternative asset business. We don't deal in paper. We don't deal in stocks and bonds and mutual funds or anything like that. We deal in the real assets. And again, with as difficult as the world is today, investment-wise, I think we have a good handle on what's happening. So give us a call, and we'll certainly sit down with you and explain to you what our programs are and what your options are.
Speak with Harold personally, privately, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, the website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, our featured diamond of the week. We'll talk about it in the second half of the show, 0.70 carat paracut fancy blue. See it online, featured diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And an interesting note from our newsletter, it's really quite telling because according to the BLS in the United States, Americans are spending more on taxes than food and clothing combined. And that's something that is obviously a concern. That's why they're trying to take a look at a new tax structure in the United States. One of the other things that caught our eye this week, new math deals Minnesota's pensions the biggest hit in the United States. Minnesota's debt to its workers' retirement system has soared by $33.4 billion, or $6,000 for every resident, courtesy of accounting rules. Now, the accounting rules have changed as a result. They're finding that they are grossly underfunded. They have just 53% of what is needed to cover promised benefits, down from 80% a year ago based on accounting. And it's amazing how funny accounting can mask a lot of things, but they actually had to properly account, and here they are. They're in trouble. $33.4 billion, $6,000 for every resident. And at some point, somebody who is wanting to be paid out what they were promised won't get it unless things change. That is a ticking time bomb of the future that we've kept you up to date on. Connect with Harold. Find out more about investing in hard assets, diamonds, gold, silver, the investment programs that he has. Connect with him at 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, the website. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on September 7th, 2017. It's a Thursday. Our time is 9:08 Mountain. Radio show runs 6:30 CHED, Sunday afternoon at 3. Ever miss a show? And yes, we do have a podcast. You can take us anywhere. We're portable. Through iTunes, all you need to do is type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You can find us there. The shows are archived on Harold's website as well, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and you can see the shows streaming there 24/7 for your convenience. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured Diamond of the Week. It is just absolutely amazing. It's a .70 carat pear cut fancy blue, and the blue on this is so strong. Very, very strong. And it's interesting to note that there's actually going to be a couple of sales coming up here in the next little while that feature blue diamonds. And both are going to be sold for about $1 million. One out of Beverly Hills, and the other is coming out of Bonhams in London. But if you're looking to invest in a blue diamond, we say take a look at this diamond. It's a .70 carat Paracut Fancy Blue. And Harold, what a amazing piece. This is a museum piece, straight from the vaults of rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and this is the rarest of the rare.
It is magnificent, and I know how much you love the Paracuts, so the color on this is absolutely spectacular. What turns a diamond blue is boron seeping into the ground and changing the diamond from white to blue. Who would ever think that a act of nature like that could literally change the price of a diamond that substantially? I mean, it's an unbelievable thing, because when you look at a blue diamond that comes out of, let's say, the Cullinan mine in South Africa, where some of the most famous blue diamonds have ever come from. Again, you're talking that the majority of diamonds that come out of that mine are white, like 99% of the diamonds are. But because boron seeped into it, it turned it blue, and not only changed the color, but changed the value of those diamonds substantially. The fact is that blue diamonds have gone up in value more than any other diamond has. It's been an unbelievable and incredible run that from 2005, I remember the auctions were going on that important vivid blue diamonds were selling in the range of about $200,000 a carat. Fast forward to 2017, so you're talking 12 years later, that these diamonds are up to $4 to $5 million a carat. So that's what is happening in the diamond market. The fact is that blues have taken over from reds as the rarest of all diamonds. Very seldom will you ever see a red diamond come onto the market, but the price of blues have surpassed the price of reds, and we believe that the next diamonds to do that are literally going to be the green diamonds. So I think at this point, with the world markets the way that they are, the volatility, the risk, that things are happening that really don't make an awful lot of sense in the marketplace, the fact is that assets like diamonds will continue to do extremely well because it's portable private wealth. You know, with the present political situation in the United States, you're going to get people in the U.S. that are going to expatriate. They're going to leave the country. They're going to give up their passport, and they're going to move to some other country that doesn't have the same issues as the United States. Now, to transfer over all of your wealth is extremely difficult to do. You can't cross the border with stocks or bonds or cash or gold or anything like that. Now, a diamond you can. If you own that diamond, have the paperwork for it, and you leave the country, nobody's going to create an issue for you whatsoever. If you come back into the country and you don't have that diamond, then you could have some explaining to do. But the fact is that if you're leaving the country, a diamond is the best form in which to transfer wealth, because the fact is it can be sold in other currencies and all that type of thing. Plus, it's portable private wealth. It's the only wealth that you could literally leave the country with and travel someplace else with. So, again, just judging by the last few years, looking at auctions and private sales and that type of thing, and seeing how much some of these diamonds have increased, it's certainly encouraging to know that as a long-term investment that we're definitely heading in the right direction. So, again, we're very excited about what's happening in the diamond market, and this week's diamond was absolutely sensational.
Jewelry is an investment you can wear for 30 years and then sell. What else can you do that with? A great quote from Chris Delgado, a jewelry expert. And we've quoted that before, but it really does get you thinking. And if you're in a scenario, let's say you're living in Florida, you do want to leave because you know the hurricane is coming, you're going to evacuate. Diamonds or portable? Portable private wealth, as Harold has said. Richard Russell, who wrote the Dow Theory letters for over 50 years, passed away a few years ago, put it this way. Another high-class area of transportable tangibles is diamonds. You can transport $10 million worth of diamonds in your pocket, in your trousers. It's portable wealth. And Joseph Lipton, the CEO of Secured Worldwide, diamonds are portable, alternative store of savings and wealth that are being increasingly utilized for diversification. And in a new and uncertain world where surprises will continue to catch us off guard, i.e. hurricanes, portability should be absolutely understood as diversification as well. The ability to easily move savings and wealth is not a feature of precious metals, real estate, or most collectibles, but it is for diamonds. They are arguably the densest and most portable form of savings and wealth in existence. Real estate is fixed, and $1 million worth of gold weighs about 10 kilos, as much as a large car tire, but a handful of collection-quality diamonds can be worth many millions of dollars and fit in your pocket. That according to Joseph Lipton, CEO of Secured Worldwide. And that was one of the things, Harold, many years ago when you brought diamonds to our attention was an added benefit. It had that characteristic that, yes, you can make the investment, and as we quote, jewelry is an investment you can wear for 30 years and sell. We love it. That's one of the great things about jewelry and diamonds as an investment. But you add on, for those that are in Houston, for those that are in Florida, who have had to evacuate looking for tangible, portable assets, obviously diamonds fit into that category, and we're seeing that more and more over time, people taking a look at diamonds and realizing that you can have in the palm of your hand a Rolls Royce in price or in your pocket because that is the value of the diamonds that a person's carrying with them.
You better believe it, Randy. Again, it's just that type of asset. And, we talked about it when they were having issues in Europe last year and the year before when the banks were closed and nobody could get to their bank accounts. So the fact is that an asset like a rare colored diamond is an extremely important asset. The fact is that it's a longer-term investment. You put away in your portfolio. If you don't need the money when you retire, you hand it down from generation to generation, and these diamonds pick up more and more and more value the longer you hold on to them. Best example, we've given many times is Shirley Temple's diamond. In 1940, her father bought it for $7,100, and it stayed in the family for 77 years and was sold for $25 million. I would say that that's a tremendous return and certainly proves the point that we're talking about. The longer you hold on to these assets, the more and more they go up in value. In the rare occasion that something happens like what we're going through in Florida and Houston in the States right now with these acts of nature that could totally disrupt your life. The fact is that the statistics that Randy gave, for the hurricanes and all that, where it's a horrific thing, obviously, just look what it does to the economy. Sure, the insurance companies get hit up on these type of things, and the government has put away money for these type of natural disasters, but all the new cars that are going to have to be purchased, all the new homes and building materials and, that type of thing is phenomenal for the economy. So as detrimental and as horrific as these storms are, how they disrupt our lives and take away everything that you have and pictures and namesakes and memories of everything when your home gets washed away type of thing, the bottom line is that the economy does well when these type of hurricanes hit. $100 billion in Houston, and what's the damage going to be, because of these next two hurricanes that are back-to-back coming into Florida. So, the fact is that if you have all of your assets sitting in one area, if it's sitting only in paper stocks or that type of thing, you're going to be in trouble. There's no doubt in the world that we're going to have another situation in the foreseeable near future where these markets are going to crash. And if you're in your 20s and 30s and can withstand and sit back for the next 10 years and wait to get back to break even, so be it. But most people can't. If you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, those type of situations will cripple you financially. Give us a call. We have programs available that can help you that do much better than the mainstream. We're conservative here. Even though we make recommendations in the most volatile type of markets, we've had tremendous success over the years. The fact is that it was this radio show, the World Financial Report with Randy and myself, that called the gold market the biggest bull market in history when nobody was thinking about gold and silver running except for us and John Embry. We were the only ones that had the guts back in 2000 to say, get out of your stocks and buy some physical gold, and it was the biggest bull market of all time. Not only in gold, not only in silver, but we did it in oil, and we did it in currencies, and we had a phenomenal play in palladium, a metal that most people have never, ever heard of, that it was at $180 when we recommended it. By the way, right now it's almost at $1,000, but it did go as high as $1,100 to $1,200. So, again, we know these markets. We've done extremely well. Now, there's going to be hiccups along the way. When I look at a market and I look at the fundamentals and the technicals and the support and the resistance and the Fibonacci and all the head and shoulders and everything that goes along with making a recommendation on a trade, when something like what is happening now enters the market, it throws it off for a period of time. There's no doubt that, in my mind, that the U.S. dollar will regain tremendous strength and be the strongest currency again. But while we're going through these issues with Trump and all that type of thing, we're going to see fluctuation in those markets, and it's going to affect us on a short-term basis. But most of the investments that we make for our clients are longer term. And again, we're not leveraging our positions. So the fact is we're not going to get in trouble from these. I don't care if gold runs this year or next year, as long as it runs to the level that we think it's going to run at the time that we think it's going to run. And I know that run is coming again. The fact is that gold came down to $1,050 after hitting a high of $1,920. It came down because it was manipulated down. It was nothing in the market that made gold drop from $1,920 down to $1,050, except that the exchanges in New York and Chicago raised the margin requirements or the cost of buying gold so substantially that it chased all the investors out of the market. That's manipulation to me. So the fact is that when are we going to see this next bull market in gold? Well, first of all, gold market broke 1,300, which was very important, and that happened last week. Second of all, the next major level for gold is 1,380. We would need to see two closes above 1,380 in gold in order for it to start to run and break over 1,380 and start to make a run to $1,500, $1,800, $1,900. In actual fact, this market should have been at over $2,000 if the government and the exchanges didn't do what they did to the market. So all in all, the markets right now are in a different place. Again, we watch the markets every minute that they're trading. I'm up very early, like 5:30 in the morning every day, looking at the overseas markets. We take our business very, very seriously. But there are situations in the marketplace right now that make our job a little bit more difficult. I have no control over when, President Trump opens his mouth and says the things that he does. We have no control over what happens between the U.S. and North Korea or what happens with Canada raising interest rates. Those are all things that are 100% out of our control. What is in our control is when these situations happen, is that it's my job to analyze these situations and report back to you as to what the result is going to be. And that's what we've done extremely well for the last 17, 18 years. And I'm very proud of the show. As Randy mentioned before, no matter what, no matter whether it's a hurricane, any other type of storm, anything going on in the world, we have never, ever missed a show in 17 years. That's how serious Randy and I take this business.
And I'll tell you, there were times where Harold was in pretty rough shape with some dental issues. There was a few times where I picked up a stomach bug, and I didn't know how I was going to get through the show. But we did it. We got through, and we persevered. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week, a .70 carat Paracut Fancy Blue. Absolutely gorgeous. And I did include, this is from the beginning of the year, April 19, 2017, the story about Shirley Temple and her diamond. And the reason I thought it was important to have you take a look at it if you did not know about it, as Harold touched on, it was her 12th birthday, and her father purchased a blue diamond for her. It was a 9.54 carat stone, and she wore it for most of her life. In fact, in the story that we have in our free weekly newsletter, and you can get our newsletter from Harold, 1-800-432-1022, or rarecolorediamonds.com, there's a picture of her wearing this diamond ring. And it was something that it brought a lot of joy to her. And it was something that she enjoyed. Got a 12th birthday, $7,210 in 1940. And it was among the lots that were up for auction at Sotheby's in New York. It did not sell. It sold after the sale privately, and it sold for what we believe above $25 million. But this is the key here. They say in the story, this is a treasured piece of jewelry that she wore and enjoyed her entire life. And it was from her private estate, and somebody purchased it, and that buyer was putting it up for auction. But it was something that she enjoyed her entire life, and that goes back to what we were talking about a little earlier. Jewelry is an investment you can wear for 30 years and sell. What else can you do that with? But you need to invest in quality, and that's where someone like Harold Siegel comes into play. He's going to make sure that you get the highest quality jewelry, diamonds, for the investment that you have. And that's why connect with Harold, rarecolorediamonds.com. Featured Diamond of the Week, a .70 carat paracut fancy blue, 1-800-432-1022. Harold has other programs in place that you can start making money today. 1-800-432-1022, the website, rarecolorediamonds.com. And it was interesting to note, it was a few weeks back, James Bond, of course, his favorite vehicle was an Aston Martin. And there was an Aston Martin from 1956 that sold at auction for $22.5 million. And that broke a record that was set earlier in the year for another vehicle that went for $21.5 million. For those that collect watches, Paul Newman's Rolex is coming up for auction. And we can tell you right now that that is going to go for a boatload of money. We will let you know when it does sell. But, Harold, we have an auction underway right now, and it's hsfineauctions.com. It has been very, very successful. For those that have been taking part, you know how much fun it is. Go to hsfineauctions.com. The auction is underway. All you need to do is sign up, log in, take a look at the catalog, and then you can feel free to start bidding. And what are some of the pieces that we currently have up, other than the Liz Taylor legendary brooch that we've spoken about?
Well, we have a magnificent round, I think it's a 263 fancy yellow round flawless diamond ring. Now, the round diamonds, round yellow diamonds especially, one like this that's over 2.5 carats, is ridiculously rare and one of the most beautiful diamond rings I've ever seen. I remember that I had purchased for my wife a 5-carat round yellow diamond ring, and we were out for dinner with some clients, and the client bought it right off her finger for $250,000. Rounds and emerald cuts are the rarest of all cuts, and to get a round, flawless yellow diamond of this size today is nearly impossible. Because in all honesty, if it's not going to be a perfect diamond, they're not going to cut it round. They'll cut it in an oval, or they'll cut it in a cushion cut. But this is so rare. And then we have a marquee vivid yellow flawless diamond ring that is the most vivid yellow diamond I've ever seen in my career. It's a 10 out of 10. The marquee is a very rare cut, but this particular diamond, if you put it amongst 100 other diamonds, vivid diamonds, that are all graded vivid yellow by the GIA, and put them all together, you will pick this one diamond out as the most spectacular diamond you have ever seen. That's how strong the color is on this vivid yellow marquee diamond. We put it into a magnificent ring setting, so that's up for auction also. The only problem right now is being out in Colorado in the mountains is that it's difficult to shoot the videos and all that. So as soon as I get back to Florida, we'll be adding, tremendous items to this auction. Plus we have another auction coming up in October that's going to be for all white goods, and it's going to be items that are 50% discounted to the market. So we've got some amazing things coming up. We're really building our auction business into our major business because that's where we believe our future is, and that is going to be the exit strategy for our clients down the road when they decide to sell their diamonds, especially after the Argyle mine closes.
RareColoredDiamonds.com, the website, featured diamond of the week, 0.70 carat Paracut Fancy Blue. See it online, RareColoredDiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. If you want to take part in the auction, go to the website hsfineauctions.com, sign in, see the catalog, and then feel free to start bidding. One of the things that was positive in a vote of confidence for Houston, Texas, after the huge storm, Hurricane Harvey, it's going to take a lot to rebuild that city. The Houston Rockets were sold for $2.2 billion, breaking an NBA record, sold to Houston restaurateur Tillman Fertitta. Now, Tillman, I love his show on CNBC called The Billionaire Buyer. He helps out small businesses by going in and buying different products they may have. Another show that I like on CNBC, The Profit with Marcus Lemonis. But yes, Tillman Fertitta picking up the Houston Rockets for $2.2 billion. It's interesting to note, Harold, that the Rockets were originally purchased in 1993 for $85 million. Steve Ballmer paid for the Los Angeles Clippers in 2014 $2 billion. The Rockets went for $2.2 billion, but Les Alexander did quite well, $85 million to $2.2 billion from 1993 to 2017. Not a bad deal at all, but we wish Tillman Fertitta all the best in running the Houston Rockets and helping bring back the city of Houston. And Harold, we have about 30 seconds left here, and we just want to wish everybody in Florida all the best.
Thank you very, very much. Again, I want to thank everybody, all the listeners to our show, all our friends that have given us their best wishes. Again, this is a very difficult time. Our business and families and everything are in South Florida, and we just hope for the best, obviously. So thank you all very much. I wish you all a very, very wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Speak with Harold at RareColoredDiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. The website is RareColoredDiamonds.com. That's it, another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.